flat tire. What are we gonna do? Molly, what do you have over there? Is that the new box from AUXITO? Let's check it out. I think we're gonna be okay. This is the new box from AUXITO. They send it to me to try out and I love it. I think I'm gonna order a few more because it's all in one. It's very small, comes with a case. You can actually inflate your tire. Very easy to use, very small. You can actually charge your phone with the USB. You just hit power, hold it, and it's charged to 100%, and it's got a light up top. So if you're on the side of the highway, you can actually change the light, let it blink red so you don't get hit on the side of the highway. It's very cool and easy to use, like I already said. So let's go ahead and pump this tire up and make it home and see if it's got a hole in it. So the light just came on a few minutes ago, so hopefully the tire is not completely flat. Every car has a sticker somewhere on the door jamb or on the door, and this one is right here, and it's 36 psi front, 36 psi rear. It looks like this front left driver tire is the one that's low, so we just hook this up. Hard to do it one hand. Clamp that on, and it turned off automatically because it wasn't in use, so you just turn that back on and you set the pressure to 36 psi, and all you do is hit power, and it was down to 21 psi, but it's going to take maybe 30-60 seconds or so. It's going to pump up, but it is cold outside, so I'm going to chill in here with Molly. Thanks for bringing this with you because we would have been stranded over here in the parking lot. Very nice. Now we're at 36 psi. Tire's looking good. I will check it for screws and nails and we'll be all good. So as I was pumping the tire up, somebody was listening to country music per usual and killed the battery, and now the car doesn't start. The good news is we have jumper cables as well. So if you look on the side of the unit, there's a plug over here on the side with a little hood and the car logo, and you open that up and you plug in the jumper cables. So all you do is plug that in, open the hood, connect it, and that should jump the car. So make sure you get the red one to the positive and the black one to the negative. Once you have it connected, hit the power button, hold it, turns it on. We're at 90% still. Okay, Molly, go ahead and start it. Go ahead and start the car. All right, I'll do it. All right, back in business. And the tire light went away, so we're good. So we made it home safe, and I recommend this device to everybody just to have in your car, because not only you can jump start your car, pump up your tire, but you can also pump up any ball, beach ball, basketball, volleyball, you name it, and very cool. And it comes with a cool case, a little manual, which is super easy to use. There's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons, and you just charge it once in a while with the provided cord. So very cool to have. And I'm not a lizard from Geico, but I can save you 15% if you order this device on AUXITO.com. Just use my code, and it's L8R HP. It'll be on the screen and in the description, so go get yours right now. I'm gonna actually order a few more of these because I want to put one in the boat. I don't want to get stranded on the lake. I'm gonna put one in every car I have, Dark Horses or that, which doesn't run yet, but it will. So very cool to have. Go ahead and get yours today. Is that normal? Here we have a 2017 Ford Focus ST. This thing, that was a good deal until it actually came in. This thing came from Florida. I'm in North Carolina. Got it off an insurance auto auction. This thing is a clean title, but it was mechanical damage is what it was listed as. Missing the front bumper, and there's a hole in the hood. And then I look underneath, and the whole exhaust is missing. So a lot of things are missing. Wiring harness is melted due to the exhaust being up here going through the hole. Has a little bit of underglow all the way around the car in the front, rear. Intercooler was missing. A lot of things are missing. The airbox is missing. This thing was a complete race car, I guess, for a track maybe or something like that. So this is pretty much what it looked like right there. So anyways, this thing actually started up. I put a battery in it and it started up, but it started blowing a lot of smoke and I thought it was going to catch fire. And then I started looking into it. So coil number 1 was already loose and the spark plug was missing. So that gave me a sign that, you know, bad engine, bad something. Stuck a camera down there and I can see the piston rings. So piston number 1 left the chat. So this is cylinder number 1 here, and as you can see, a piece of the piston is missing and there's a lot of oil. So what it was doing, it was burning oil, and there is no oil on the dipstick. I actually had to add some just to see if it would start, and it did. It actually idled, but smoked a lot, so I turned it off. I didn't want this thing to catch on fire. So I actually have a new engine, well, new slash used. It's got about 5,000 miles on it. The car has about 80,000 miles on it, so that'll be perfect. I have an intercooler upgrade, a complete exhaust, and I went ahead and got one of these downpipes. It is catted. It's a high flow cat. I'm just gonna have to put the sensors in, and they should be good. One thing I will do is I'm gonna program this thing back to stock because I have no idea what tune is in it. I'm assuming it's tuned because of the videos I saw on Instagram. And the last missing piece is the front bumper cover. It just actually came in, so I will have to get the front bumper cover painted and the hood either replaced or repaired. And yes, this thing will be for sale in the next few days. Everything's for sale for the right price. So once it's completely 100% running and driving and passes North Carolina inspection, this thing will be up for sale. It is a 2017 with 80,000 miles on it, and it's a ST1. So it's pretty basic. I would start this thing up right now, but it's just don't want to burn the house down. So goal right now is I'm gonna see if the AC system is still filled up. If not, I'm gonna take the whole front end apart, and if it is filled up, I'm gonna lower the compressor and just let it hang there so I don't have to drain the AC system. This thing actually has some decent tires. Sorry bro, I know you worked hard on this lights and stuff, but they gotta go. Looks like the AC system is still pressurized, which is nice. It is that new stuff, YZF123 or whatever, and I don't want to drain it. A couple of reasons. Then you have to vacuum it and then refill it, and that new stuff is like 70 bucks a can. So I'd rather just leave it all intact since the condenser is all good. I'll just lower the compressor from the bottom and then lift the engine and transmission through the top. May have to remove the hood, we'll see. But I guess it's time to get this engine out and put the new one in. Look at that, it's got drilled rotors too. Engine and the transmission are out of the vehicle. I did have to remove the upper radiator support to give me more clearance because I was afraid I'm going to crack the windshield and I don't want to cause any more damage than there's already enough damage as it is. But I should have just done that to begin with because it's just a few extra bolts and it gives you a lot more room. Also should have maybe removed the fan, but it's fine because I was able to move it just a little bit. So engine transmission came out through the top, no problem, on a 2017 Ford Focus ST. Now all I gotta do is detach the transmission, hook it up to the new engine, which is right here, and put it back in the car and hope it starts. The good thing is the used engine came with the wiring harness and everything, because all of this got melted. So I'll be able to use the new wiring harness with the new engine, so not bad. Alright, so the transmission's off the engine. That's the old engine. I'm about to mount the original transmission to the new engine. Used, new. Only 5,000 miles on it. 5,000 miles on the engine. 5,000 miles on the clutch. Let's get it. Well, the engine and the transmission are one piece again, so it's ready to go back in. But buying an engine and not knowing if it's going to run or not is always a risk. You can get a good deal, but you just don't know if it's going to run. I mean, you know, I know it has 5,000 miles on it, but why was it removed? There's the turbo was loose, so I tightened back up, checked the gaskets and everything, connected a few hoses here. So everything visually is looking fine. I just won't know until I actually put it in the car and crank it. Alright, the engine and transmission are back in the vehicle. Now it's time for the fun part, reassembling everything that I took apart. So I just ran into an issue with the wiring harness. I always try to reuse the harness off the I always try to use the original harness off the car. In this case, I couldn't because it's melted and it's been cut and spliced. I mean, I can fix all of this. I would just rather not, and that's why I thought that harness on the new engine, new used engine, would work until I try to plug in the PCM. And turns out it's different. Even the part number is different. Obviously, I should have checked that before I installed the engine. It would have been so much easier to take the harness off. And I was thinking to just repair this one. And then I opened up the box of parts that came with the engine, which are all brand new. Motor mount and alternator, starter, bunch of hoses and clamps and everything, bolts. I found a brand new harness, exact same part number, which is nice. Now I don't have to repair that one at the moment. I will if I have to in the future. When I do that engine rebuild, if I ever do it, let me know if I should. Piston number 1 has a hole in it. I'm pretty sure it's an easy fix. But now I gotta put this harness in. So here's the old harness of the engine, and the one connector is smaller than the other. I think this harness is probably from a regular non-turbo 2.0 possibly, because that's what that looks like. The harness is installed, the PCM is installed and plugged in. There's still a couple things I need to plug in the back of the engine and then run some coolant lines. But I think before I do all that, I should probably see if this thing will crank and start. So I just want to make sure that everything's plugged in, and we'll throw a battery in and see if it'll crank over. So at this point, I've got everything connected. I think enough to get it to idle for a few seconds at least, just to see if I need to do anything else. Before I install, you know, the alternator, the AC compressor, tensioner belt, all that, I want to make sure that this thing runs, not knowing if it ran when I bought the engine. So let's give it a crank and see what happens. Cross your fingers. So I just scanned it for codes, and I got the charge air cooler temp sensor not connected, O2 sensors are not connected, and turbo boost sensor, blah blah blah. Engine fault service now. Let's see what happens. Whoa. Alright. Running. I don't want to run it too long. I still don't have the downpipe. So now that I know this thing is running, I can actually keep installing things like tensioner, AC compressor, the belt on that side, and then the battery tray and all of this. And then I'm going to get to the downpipe and the intercooler. I want to get this thing to run and drive at least enough to where I can put it on the trailer and take it to paint, because the hood needs repair. And the bumper needs to be painted. So as I'm slowly putting this thing together, I started thinking, is the 2.0 non-turbo bottom end exactly the same? I see the head's different, the oil pan's different, the front cover's different, but is the block and the pistons and the crank, all that, is it the same as a regular 2.0? That's something I need to look into, because I have a perfectly good bottom end here with the blown head gasket, regular 2.0 non-turbo. If this bottom end is exactly the same, I'm just going to take the other engine apart, put the head on this, change the oil pan, change the front cover, retime it, maybe change the timing chain, and I'll have a good running engine. What do you guys think? Alright, so at this point, the downpipe is ready to go in. I actually did install the upstream and downstream sensors. This is a catted high flow downpipe. I'm hoping this will get me to pass emissions in my county and state. Got a new clamp and the gasket, so this thing will go under there. Won't be able to film because it's such a low clearance, but once it's on there, I'm going to plug the sensors in and hopefully run it for more than 5 seconds, but we'll see. So the downpipe is all installed, and I've got both sensors connected, upstream upstream and downstream. And then I remembered I ordered a whole kit for the intercooler. I think it comes with all the piping too. So after I installed all the stock piping, I realized I need to open this and see what came with it. Bunch of clamps. Nice metal tube. Another metal tube. Dude, look at this thing. What a unit. Wow. Huge intercooler. Alright, so there's the intercooler. It mounts to the top 2 bolts up here, and then the bottom will actually line up with the lower radiator support, which is nice. They didn't include the hardware, but it's all good. I just gotta find 2 bolts. I'm sure I have plenty around here. And then I'm gonna change this piping out because it's metal. So I'm gonna get rid of the regular plastic or whatever tubing and just have one solid metal piece, and then the other one's gonna go on the passenger side. So pretty cool kit, not bad for eBay quality, I guess. Alright, let's start it up, run it for a few minutes, maybe bleed the coolant. Oops. Engine fault, service now. Why is that still on? So I shut it off because I didn't see any oil pressure building. It was staying at 0, so I didn't want to run it for too long. The oil is a little bit low because it was completely dry, and I put 5 quarts in it. I guess it's not enough, plus the car is tilted right now on jack stands. So I'm going to scan it and see if I can possibly read actual PSI for the oil. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not able to read actual oil pressure live data, but the low oil light does not come on while it's idling, but it's showing 0 PSI up there on the gauge. I don't know, maybe the gauge is bad, but there's no codes for that. There's a air temperature sensor missing, and then O2 sensor bank 1, sensor 1. Upstream sensor looks like it's bad. It's a circuit code. And then the clutch pedal position, I think I have to bleed it one more time because it's the clutch is kind of soft, and I guess it's not reading it right. But that's the only 3 codes. They just repeat themselves. So I'm not going to run it anymore right now until I top off the oil to the complete level, because right now it's on the minimum and the car is tilted. I don't want to run it for long. So I want to make sure this thing starts and runs, and it does. So here's the complete catback kit that I got. It's not an expensive one, but it'll work. The whole exhaust was missing in this car, so whatever. I'm gonna put this on and see what it sounds like. drives great. I popped the intercooler hose once, but it's alright. I just put it back on with another clamp and we're good to go. There's just too many clamps to remember, but this thing's going off the paint. You probably won't see this again. It'll probably be sold by the time this video's out, but she runs good. I'm just curious to see what kind of tune is in it. Well, that's gonna be it on this 2017 Ford Focus ST. It's completely assembled and flashed back to stock. As you can see, it's been painted. The whole front was painted. Well, the hood and the bumper was painted, and there was blend on the doors because red color is really hard to match. This thing was painted at Roman's Custom Garage in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So if you need a paint job that's affordable and awesome quality like this, make sure to hit them up because they do it quick, they do it right, and it's in a paint booth and they mix their own paint, so it's 100% matching. What an awesome car this is. I did flash it back to stock because I'm afraid to blow this 5,000 mile engine, and I think it's going to be safe. Whoever buys it or ends up with this car can actually tune it themselves, or I can tune it later down the road if needed. At this point, this thing is stock. When I say that, the intercooler has been upgraded, which is also a good thing for the turbos and the engine, colder air, and the downpipe is catted, but it's a high flow cat. Also, it's got a complete exhaust, cat back exhaust, because all of that stuff was missing, so I ended up upgrading that. Other than that, this thing is 100% stock as far as tune or flash, whatever you want to call it. And this thing is ready to go. It's cleaned up, it's looking good, and it's a fun car to drive. I mean, this thing's a monster, like 950 horsepower. That thing's at 950 horsepower. But this thing, stock, it's fun to drive. I mean, it's a car that can handle the road and the driver. That being said, you can still have fun with these 4-cylinder turbo cars. This is an ST. I would like to get an RS one day. Those cars are crazy overpriced still. Prices are dropping, but they're crazy overpriced. One of these days we'll get one. They're all-wheel drive 2.3. This one's a front-wheel drive 2.0 turbo. With all that being said, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and later.